Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dave Emmons Strange Reality Show, and where we talk about everything. I mean, all topics. I mean, we're talking about uh, UFOs, ETs, archaeology, ancient history. We get into that quite a bit. In my last show, I guess we just jumped all around to different topics. I think people like that a lot of times. We just talk enough that people get the gist or the idea of what we're trying to get across. And also, some of the people who get some of this information aren't so desirable. They can play with my computer, they can play with the numbers, the views, they can shadow ban, they can mess with your computer if they don't like what they hear and what they're talking about. And one of the things about disclosure, I guess I make this clear on some of my shows that my idea is this: since the Pentagon has backed away from a state, from I guess not a state, but there was a state of Florida. They're supposed to meet there, and they're supposed to have a Senate committee hearing. They backed off from those two. There's two meetings they backed off from. So it's not the military or the Pentagon. I think half of those people want to talk about disclosure and get more deep into it and let us know more. But there's a powers to be that's above the military and above our political system. We call, I guess, the deep state or the cabal or the elites that are in charge of this planet, the banks and things of that nature, and also the top secret military projects that nobody knows about, and we don't even know about, and I don't even think our government knows a lot about what's going on. So maybe that's why the government can't give us answers. That technology is being used by the elites, and they don't want us to know about that technology because they're actually using some of that technology to control us through frequencies, through energy, and also the weather. So, uh, Lord help us, we're dealing with something more powerful than any of us, I think. And I hope they. I mentioned this before, but that's just my theory. It's not proven. I want the platforms, yeah, the networks and the platforms to know that it's not. I don't know that for sure. It's just a theory. It's for educational purposes only. If you hear that, that's my comment. That's the reason why I think disclosure is being slowed down, and it's going to be up to us, the people out here, to talk about things. And just like what I'm going to talk about today, I have a return guest, and she you guys liked her last time we had her on about 2 or 3 months ago. So I figured I'd bring her back because she has a lot more to talk about, and I can talk to her, I guess, for several days and never find out everything. But my guest today is Elsa Dillon. She's from Australia, and we're all here in the U.S. always thinking about Australia and what it'd be like to go there and visit it. I know some people probably have been to Australia, and I'd love to go there. The outback, I might be too old to be romping around the outback back there with all them snakes there, Elsa Dillon, but that's kind of dangerous. Elsa and her husband Richard, they have 8 children, and they've all experienced interdimensional beings and multidimensional realms. And the Dillon family has been incarnating together again in this realm, sharing their daily experiences, messages, and happenings with paranormal. And they have been photographers and videographers shooting celebrities, magazines, and advertising. That's what they did on their day job. And they've done this, I guess, for 3 decades. And they have seen and visited or been talked to by 480 beings, probably a lot more in the last 2 or 3 months, but many forms of multidimensional realms, sharing with those ready to be experienced. And if you open your mind and your consciousness up and listen to what Elsa has to say and what she talks about her family's experiences and what's going on in their lives, and some of the stuff we talked about off air, we probably won't talk about on air. I mentioned one part of it, but we won't mention too much more of it because she Elsa believes in a healing spiritual nature of this thing, combating negative or evil powers, and she thinks that can help. And having her on the show will help me with my little aggravations that I get sometimes. Elsa, uh, I know you've been working hard on your ranch, and you got the children. Well, most of your children, I guess, are off on their own. But Elsa Dillon, what else do you have to say and add about what's going on with you today?
Well, we've just had some huge meteors and asteroids go past, so this is literally rattling the world. And this is because it's in May, which is the month of Grand, and the Grand is the Grand Spiral. It's May is known for being grand, so this information is there for you, but it's not easily found. They know about this because the religions all know about it, astrology know about it, because this is why they used to have Lent. They would prepare their bodies spiritually or physically to accept the new intelligence coming to us from the asteroids and meteors. So I believe what happens is uh, you don't become less, and neither does Earth. It only becomes more. So when these asteroids and meteors come past and they feel our vibration, they get pulled in closer.
Hmm.
And this is, they predicted this. The ancients predicted this year and last year. And what happens is when these asteroids and meteorites come through, come ETs.
Hmm.
I laugh at all the language because it's so when they pass Earth and law of attraction brings them closer, it's the frozen mud, which is frozen, is covered by like water, hydrogen, and then the sun gets triggered by us, and then it melts the frozen mud, and then it rains on us, and then we upgrade, we become higher breeds. In this, though, creates discomfort, it creates illnesses, it creates confusion because there's a lot of old things that come up. And this is what we found with people all around the world at the moment is they're having to deal with things that irritate them and issues and old illnesses, and they've got to get onto it quickly.
Yeah. So
A
you're
lot of
saying
people are
also,
crossing over.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
saying also
we
that these meteorites and these things that come into our atmosphere are releasing this water, mud, or whatever it comes down like rain or
rain.
moisture.
Yeah,
It kind of works like chemtrails. You've heard of the chemtrails
yeah.
that our
We won't
planet.
say that word, so because
Yeah, they
that
seed the
causes.
clouds. They are
Yeah,
supposedly seeding the clouds, but we don't know exactly what they do, and that's another thing that I'm not sure about. So I'm not going to talk about what they have there because it hasn't been really proven. But you're talking about these meteorites would deliver maybe different kinds of bacteria that we're not used to, Elsa.
um, well, they talk about it in a lot of films too, and it's tar. It's referred to as tar.
Uh,
Tar is all through our language, and tar is in a few movies they call it dust, essence, it's sense. So it literally brings you to your senses, and it does upgrade you. It does give you intelligence, but if you haven't cleaned up your act, it gets confusing. It just gets so confusing because you're not following your own inner self. You're following things that have been fed to us from Hollywood or the internet, or so it's all great, all that information that you study and read and books and ancient texts. It's all great out there, but you do have to find some space in you and say, does this ring true for me?
so we have to
Um,
cleanse ourselves of all negativity in order to be
well,
a good receptor, right, Elsa?
well, that negativity is actually a lot of spiritual people speak of this as a great healing. The negativity, the irritation. I mean, I do love about my husband is he irritates me the most and I irritate him the most, but this also makes
Yeah.
us great together
Hmm.
because we, instead of, as you know, sometimes we do argue about it, but if we can rise above it and look within what the actual irritation is from, where it started, we actually heal ourselves in great ways. And then we become better. And so sometimes we as humans have been told that negativity is bad, but if you don't have the contrast, how can you see the other side?
Right. Yeah. There's got to be a good and bad and a yin and a yang. I was thinking about
Yeah.
the married couples. They love each other. So actually, sometimes our expectations are higher when we love somebody because we expect perfection. And then when we don't get it, that's when we get irrational or we get irritated. Is that right, Elsa? Am I thinking the right
Well,
way or what?
maybe that's, I think you are thinking right way, but a lot of the time they always say every feeling you have of another is really a feeling that you have of you.
Yeah.
So that one I find that's hard. That's a hard one for humans to swallow, but it is. And that's why I say, some people will hear my voice or hear our story and they get really annoyed with us or irritated. And I go, that's great. Now go away and find what part irritates you. Is it the lighting? Is it my hairstyle? Is it how I dress? Is it because I've had children and you haven't? Or is it because of the way I've had children? Is it what is irritating? What is irritating you? Find out what it is, because you'll be able to use it as healing for yourself.
Hmm.
And then you let go. And sometimes it's just talk. Sometimes it's the smallest thing. It's just acknowledging it and saying it out loud, which you just talked about before privately.
Yeah.
When you say things out loud and you make the acknowledgement, um, it's like you've become free of that, and then you go to the next version of you.
I know I saw an interesting video. I don't, a lot of times, a lot of things I see on the internet, I just kind of push it away, and I have people send me these shows and stuff, and I say, oh, that's scare tactics. I'm not getting into that, because I'm not buying into everything. But I saw an interesting video where this guy just sat there and he said, the show that you see, the universe that you see, the people that you see, the people that you meet, he said, you produced it. You're the director. It's kind of like you're in a matrix and you produce everything you see and do. And the people that you meet, that is coming from you. You're actually directing that, like in your head is a movie script, and your eyes are visualizing that, and nothing is actually matter. And that's when they talk about the quantum leap and the quantum physics, and they talk about matter not being there. It doesn't exist. It's only what we imagine through this matrix and this holographic lifestyle that we live, and that we produce. And I thought to myself, just like what you said, like sometimes some people have this irritation, but it's something that's inside of them that's coming out as an irritation. And actually, and this guy was saying that we produce and we direct our own shows on Earth here with people and with the world and what we see. That's kind of that when you talked about that, Elsa. That's how I was thinking about that. We produce everything we see and hear.
It's weird though, right? Because then you go, well, if we produce everything we see, then how did they have that? How do they have prophecies? How do we have visions? How does astrology forecast if we are directing the show? So,
Yeah, yeah.
it does. It throws you into literally, this is one of the reasons we named our business Spin Beings, was it throws you into another spin. And we just keep saying, look, we always say, does it ring true? Which is, a ring is a spin, right? An orbit. Does it ring true? So when I hear Dave's voice, I enjoy how it feels to hear his voice. I like how you interview people. I like the calmness that it comes over me when I hear you. So I go, okay, this is good. This is where my body wants to be. So this is law of attraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm listening to someone and they irritate me, then I have to do the check-in. Are they irritating me for my experience? Are they irritating me for someone in our family, like, a pet, or it doesn't have to be a human. It can be even your car,
Yeah,
because they hold water.
yeah.
Do they irritate me because they're irritated about them? Is this an experience that they've just got to cross our path for me to see?
Mm.
Sometimes this is the weird one. So, because this happened before all the coming out, and so in the fashion world, we meet people before they're who they are.
Right.
So, I can spiel off a whole heap of celebrities, or with Trump before he was president, the Good Witch before she was the Good Witch, Thor before he was Thor. Like, we come into Matrix, the whole Matrix film
Yeah.
before
Right.
the Matrix come out. So, is this like a? So, are we getting the is our family getting a preview or a prelude?
Of
Do
what's
you, do you
next.
get what I'm saying? Like, we're getting the
Right.
trailer.
Right. I think the same way when I was actually, abducted and I've seen ETs and things. I think I was giving a preview of what's coming up next, that what my next lifestyle or my next being will be when I shed this human skin. Oh, I want to thank you for the compliment you give me about soothing voice. I If you ever heard Art Bell, and I'm not even close to Art Bell. Art Bell was great in radio. I don't know if you listened to him, but he had a way with people that was really great, and he opened them up. He never did, pin them to the wall. He was always gracious for everybody that he's met, and he was very calming. And I can listen to him till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just listening to him talk. And I'm not him at all, but I that's the approach I have. I like being, gentle with people, talking just casually and not hyping things up. And you, I can tell it's in your spiritual nature that you are like that. You're a strong person on the inside, and I appreciate that. I think this matrix thing, getting back to that, but people, please, I'm not comparing myself to nobody. Art Bell would stomp me in the mud with his talents, but I'm just saying that this is what people would rather have, something peaceful, nothing irrational or nothing attacking people, being negative. We don't need all that negativity, especially in this world of chaos today. So we don't need that. But getting back to the Matrix, Elsa, do you think that we could be? I mean, I know what you were talking about a while ago. It is kind of confusing being in a matrix. And my question is, if we're in a matrix, then where do the ETs come from? Why do they come into our matrix and our computer program, as we would call it, the greater computer program by the great, I guess you would call it the great source, uh, the God, in which I think he's higher than God. I don't like saying God. I like saying creator and the source of all things being. And what do you think about the Matrix, Elsa?
Well, I think it's so I got I always laugh because I go, so what am I going to talk to Dave about? And I'm just sharing the human side of Elsa, right? So,
Right.
this is Dave. I want to bring you information. I'm coming back as a second time guest.
Mhm.
So, they got the quick speed show of us last time, but like, I want to this time be able to offer something that is different. So, they told me over and over and over. And so this is the messages we've been getting for the last 2 weeks, is that we're crust on crust on crust, which is the tar falling on us. So we're on and on and on. So, okay, so, um, how many years I've been here? I think I'm 50, or I'm close to 50, or I'm over 50. Anyway, I'm 50-ish. So I've been layered on these orbits of all these different asteroids and comets in
Yeah.
these 50 years, right? But these ones that come past are new ones, or are they? Have I already had these particles on me? So this is why people are having reincarnation. They're remembering lost cities, their lost families, or they're meeting their galactic family, because sometimes because everyone's different, and different makeup of crust layers, right? Like a tree or the ice cores or your skin. So you got all these layers, 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 and then a new asteroid comes past, but it might have dust or tar on it that rains on you that is familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
to the other dust that was in you from maybe when you were 2
Hmm. Yeah.
or when you were 4. And
Right.
it triggers something in you, and this is what happens. Then it creates a lot of people call it mucus, a lot of mucus, because mucus creates most illnesses in our body, like arthritis and swelling, inflammation.
Hmm.
So mucus comes up to get rid of it out, all the old stuff. It's like when I say to the kids, clean up your room.
Yeah.
They bring out these clothes that don't fit them anymore, and it's making their cupboard break. Now they have to get rid of it and make space for the new layers to come on.
Right.
And so when we're talking about the matrix, it's like that when this tar comes down on us, it's like that's like the new program. You know, when they upload the programs?
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I had a I had a I ran into an interesting gal on the internet, and sometimes some of these people are bogus. Most of the time, they're hacking other people's profiles. But this gal got mad at me when I started talking to her. Like I said, "Are you an ET?" I, because I've met ETs and I know they're a little strange, especially the one that I ran into. But she's one who screamed out to me, "There is no time. There is no space. Why don't you humans get that straight?" I said, "Whoa," I said that, because time, I actually heard this expressed that time in the present is the past and the future all on one timeline. It's all together, just like you were talking, that we see back and forth and we see things. And it seemed like to me, if there is no time, and Tartaria, yeah, you heard of Tartaria. My buddy Mark Ollie was talking about that. That actually he thinks that that's a bogus claim, that these old buildings you talked about, people seeing old buildings and things that they're familiar with in the past. Well, Tartarian is these old buildings they built that like in St. Louis, the 1904 World's Fair. They built a bunch of buildings, immaculate, beautiful buildings. They built them in a year or so or less, and then they didn't show most of the workers. Most of the workers looked human. They're average size, men, construction. But I heard that the Giants built these buildings in Tartaria, and they're marvelous buildings. But then after the World's Fair was over, after what 2 or 3 weeks, they tore them down. And this is kind of like they're messing with our past and everything. And what you're talking about, these I guess these asteroids that have all this liquid or tar or whatever that's coming down, like in a fallout, that's kind of a reset. I had another person tell me, and it looked like she was wearing a mask. I talked to her on Skype, and she had a mask line, like she was hiding something. And she said, "We went through a reset. Don't you know that?" She got upset with me. She said, "Where were you at in 2012?" So she said the Mayan calendar was true, but she said that wasn't the end of the world. It was a reset. Now you're talking like if we're in a matrix, they can reset us. Like if we're a big computer, then that's a reset. Elsa, what you were talking about kind of reminded me that when these meteors come over at certain times or certain years, or they come around, and there's different astrology that goes on with this, could this be part of that reset, Elsa, that they're talking about?
Well, the reset is sets in us,
Yeah.
because re is soul and set is how we act it. So how the soul sets it, which is each day you rise and set, right? These words are not here for no reason. Um, our kids are all waking up making breakfast, so I'm sorry if it's a bit noisy. Um, we're still family, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the setting of us is whether we have a choice. We have a will force, a sense within us, and do we, as the one here, do we act and we make a choice depending on our life is, where we are, our ascension process, whatever the words you want to use. We make a choice from where we are right this minute, right now, right second, right second. So we keep making these choices. Do I look this way? Do I look that way? I mean, it can be as minuscule as this, right? So If I didn't talk to Dave about this today, does that turn off one alignment later on? Yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it slows it down. Does this opportunity come again? Well, it might, but it might take a while for it to come back again.
Hmm.
And so then you've just changed timelines. We
Right.
don't believe time is time. We believe time is like the golden compass, again, the spin. And so it's spinning like this. And each time you have the circles crossing over, these alignments, is those, they're like key moments. So that might be what we've just had with the purple and pink skies.
Hmm.
Now, there's a lot of controversy over these pink and green skies, right?
Right. Right. There is. Uh,
But and they say what they say it is, which we follow what they say it is, the H word. But we're also saying, is it that because they use information to cover up other information. So a lot of the craft we see, they try and say all the time that this really wealthy man owns them, and it's a satellite. But we go, that's impossible, and we measure the craft
right.
with the mountains and things like this. So and with aircraft noise and heights of aircraft, you can your common sense looks at it and goes, I hear what you're saying. I know you're Mr. Smithing it or cognitive dissonance. You're saying, oh, that's a satellite, but it doesn't fit what a satellite does. It doesn't even move like a satellite. So how can this be a satellite?
Yeah.
But so why do they put out this disinformation
Yes.
to
Well,
confuse us?
yeah. To stop us from
Why?
knowing the truth. And I know we got to the
Why?
matrix.
Why do they do this
Yeah.
though?
Yeah. That's a question I ask. Why do the powers to be, the elites, they've been doing this for thousands of years to us? You had the high priest in Egypt. Let's say that. I mean, and then Anunnaki, they talked about them 60,000 years ago. Now, they kept those secrets away from us also. The high priests only knew the secrets, and the high priests were the only ones that actually knew how to build the pyramids, and the workers did what they were told to do, and they had all this technology, and human beings were smart. We don't give them the, the honest opinion that how smart they really were. They were actually smarter than us. A lot of these ancient societies were actually smarter than us. I want to get that was I talked to Mark about that too, and but the Matrix. I want to get your opinion. I know I talked about science and I talked about my opinion about the Matrix. What do you think the Matrix is all about, Elsa? I know that was in your notes. Tell us your definition of the Matrix.
Oh, well, The Matrix was the last film that I went and saw at the cinemas with Richard, so I thought that was quite funny as well. The Matrix was filmed where we lived, and so we knew the characters, well, all the characters, like a lot of them we would see just while they were filming. So this Matrix film, so we're seeing, again, a prelude.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, so what is the Matrix? So the Matrix is the mothers being tricked. Matrix. This is what it is. The Matrix, you see this graphic scene where he's in a pod, and then he wakes up in this goo,
Right.
and he sees all these other pods. Now, this is the place of entry. Whether he's in a pod or whether he's in the mother, how do you enslave many? And they've done it through the mothers. They've tricked the mothers. And this isn't about man and female either. They've tricked the mothers because when the child comes out, who do they want to please? It's the mother.
Yeah.
And so they trick the mother, and the mother goes along with it because everyone deep down is kind. And you go, well, that's impossible because I see really nasty people walking around the streets. Yes, because they're wearing that story, but deep down, we're mankind. We're not called mankind for no reason. It's just that they've layered us up with all this programs and groups and how you should be. You should police peer group pressure. And
Mhm.
so we've forgotten to be our true selves because we're too busy trying to please everybody else. And, I'm not perfect. I do this sometimes too. And then you wake up and you go, why am I doing all this? You come back to, you have enough. You hear people say, I'm done. I've had it. That's it.
Right.
That point there is where they've come back, they've returned to soul and gone, this doesn't feel right anymore.
Mhm.
Where does that feeling come from? That is your will. That's your sense. This is the life force of the cosmos. This is creation. And this is where we have to come back to. So if you feel that you're too sensitive, I'm going to say, great. If you're too sensitive to the environment and you're too sensitive for other people around you, that means you're in touch. It's just now you got to work through it. So you
Yeah.
got to work through your physical symptoms or whatever. You might have to work through your marital things. You might have to work through with your children. And these are opportunities for you to become great
And like
because
an empath. Is
we
that what
are.
yeah, like an empath.
Oh, this word's weird. I've always found empath weird. I don't know how to work empath yet. Uh, what's empath to you? Because then maybe that will help me.
Well, to me,
What do you?
I kind of think that I'm an empath in which I can pick up on other people's feelings. I can read them.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
can be in a room and I know sometimes who's a kind of an angry person and who's a real kind and open and gentle person. I can tell that. I can walk into a nightclub, for instance, when I was younger, and I was able to pick out the guys that were trouble. And if I saw too much trouble going on, I'd tell my guests that were with me, I'd say, let's leave here. This don't look very good. So it's kind of like knowing people and knowing and being empathic in a way that you know their pain. You can feel their pain. Sometimes that's not good either. You can go
Yeah.
into a room where people are hurting and they're sick, and then you can feel their pain, and it makes you feel you absorb all this, and it kind of bothers you. You have to kind of step away from it. That's what a
Yeah.
kind of an empathic thing that I'm talking about, Elsa.
So how to, so how to, so say, okay, so we'll use Dave as an example here. So the young Dave's at the nightclub, and not only can you see troublemakers, but you can also feel this person over here is not well.
Right.
So, um, so you acknowledge that, whether you just say it as a voice in your head or you speak it with your friends,
Mhm.
you acknowledge it. So an acknowledgement isn't an insight and then you've shed light on it.
Right.
So you don't take it on board or as a burden. You don't wear it. You go, it is what it is. I'm seeing it. I'm witnessing it. It is what it is. It's not me. It's just there for me to see to become great. And then you leave the nightclub because you're aware
Mhm.
and you're conscious and you're in your now with the presents and the gifts. So you've just been given all these gifts and you've shared the gifts with your friends because you want them to be safe. And then you go to another nightclub and you have a great time
Mhm.
without having a big punch up with somebody
Right.
because
I
you're not with
yeah.
the dangerous ones.
Yeah, I've been asked by friends and buddies of mine, they would be interested in like this was in my younger years, and they'd be interested in this girl, that was in the nightclub. And they said, Dave, I'm not that great of a talker. Could you go up and find out all about this person? So I go up and I start talking to this person, and they tell me everything. They're able to, I can get that out of them. They tell me everything. That's part of what an empath does too. You don't say things that threaten their identity, and you don't push on them, but they'll actually freely give you that information, where they work, how old they are, and well, I don't get into money or anything like that, but they tell you they're single and yeah, they were divorced or whatever. So I go back to these people, these guys sitting at the table, and they said, "What about it?" I said, "Well, I think you can probably go up and talk to her. She's single. She's been divorced." And I said, "She seems like a nice person." And I would tell them other things that I found out, and they say, you found all that out in just 5 minutes? I said, yeah. You can't push people. You just go up and be a friendly person, but you don't use that information to damage them either. You don't use it in a negative way. You always use it in a positive way. So I always used it in a way I'd tell a guy, go up and talk to her. She might be a good match for you. Go see, she, and then they'd get together, and they kind of, you give them a little bit of, pretense of what's going on with this hookup. So that's kind of what an empath does too. But uh, I wanted to talk to
So
you.
that's a, well, before you go, I just want to
Okay.
explain this. So that's a, you're arcing. So you're becoming, you're arcing, arc,
Yeah.
like an arc. So your left foot and your right foot. So by you doing this simple act and speaking to this girl, you're sharing with her. So you're going back to and fro. So you're becoming like a true electrical being. So you're having a frequency moment with somebody else. So your pupils and her pupils. Then you take this information. So you're taking, and she's taken from you because she's been able to share everything with you. She might have been wanting to talk about that for a long time.
Right.
So you had this interaction. Then you go back with greater knowledge of this lady and share it with your friend as a gift.
Yes.
Now, whether he does or doesn't do anything with this information, it doesn't matter to you. You did this because you had the will, force in you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to him now how he acts it. And
Yeah.
I'm using this as a simple example. Now take this with everything, like ETs, ghosts. You start taking this approach with everything, and it becomes easier.
Right.
So we're going to use, this could become famous, Dave. We'll go, it's the Dave nightclub scene. This might be a thing for
I did own
everybody.
a I did own a night I did own a nightclub, but I went belly up, and it wasn't because of those reasons. But I was always good to my employees also. But the you mentioned ghost, Elsa. Now, a lot of people don't. We're confused about what ghosts are. Some scientists say, well, ghosts can be ETs, invisible ETs. They can be spirits, our own spirits. They can be past loved ones that come back and visit, or if these people that go on ghost hunts, they go into these houses, and actually the ghost is manifested from their own energy from their brain. Now, what is your definition of a ghost, Elsa?
Well, the way I believe a ghost is a ghost is someone that has walked here on the same land as we have, but they're not in the physical anymore. That's what in my head. That's what a ghost is. But this is where it gets confusing. ETs, ghosts, orbs, people when they're remote viewing. Astro travel. Now you got orbs, glimpses, fae, animal energy, tree energy, crystal energy. Now you got all that in that realm, in those energies.
Right.
And so then you have to decipher. And sometimes what we think is a ghost isn't a ghost. And we do this with a lot of people in sessions. Okay, I'll bring up an example. This lovely family that I've done quite a few sessions with, they have these girls, and the mother in the family kept hearing the girls running around at night. Now, I'm repeating the story, and I'm sorry to this family if I'm not repeating it word for word how they do, but I'm just sort of giving a visual.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'd be in the kitchen and she'd hear, "Mummy, mummy," and feet running, right? And then a whisk across and it sounds spooky, right? Because when I get that, I get chills up my arm. Anyway, this was going on. And she said, are they ghosts? And I actually got that it's future versions of them. And she goes, future versions of the girls are saying, "Mummy, mummy," to the children, not to her. So the ghost beings, which I'm not getting that are ghosts, I'm getting that they're future versions of themselves, are calling out to the girls that are sleeping, saying, "Mummy, mummy," because it's them.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
they will be the future mommies. Yeah, the young girl.
Of the yeah, and so they're wanting to share information with them. As soon as we acknowledge this, wow, they've had more encounters. They have ET. They're having great things happen. They're having ease and grace in their life. They're doing amazing things.
Right.
But
That
up
explains.
until this point, up until this point, though, they were in fear of these mummies running around screaming because they thought it was hauntings. So, can you see? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the word ghost is gate host. That's what it means, or pillar.
Mhm.
So it's just when I say pillar or host, it's just an alignment that's come around again, and they're able to communicate at that spot, at that energy moment. So coming back to no time in the golden compass,
Mhm.
they go bang. We can communicate at this time, bang, because we're in alignment, and they might stay in alignment with you your whole life. They might stay only in alignment with you one time.
Which explains the no time theory that the present, the past, and the future is all on one timeline. It mixes up. Do you explain that with the ghost thing? What about when people see these ghosts and they see it as their mother or their father, or they see it as their child that passed away and is coming back to talk to them? Now that's kind of like a past ghost type of thing, Elsa.
Yeah, or sometimes it's something in them, like their pain body of that moment. Um, Sometimes the ghost encounter. So they had they didn't the ghost encounter. They didn't do what they wished their will had done. So they have a regret.
Mhm.
So regret is soul coming, hanging on to it and having to deal with it. Now they're in spirit form now, so they're not in the physical, and they're communicating through you so that they can help move on. And this is what we do when we work out that it's a past life, like a family, like you just said, a family member, and you can feel that they're in trauma and they're stuck. We sort of attempt to work through it with the ghost, and generally, again, shed light, something simple, and then it just seems to lift.
Yeah.
And then instead of them coming through in a annoying, irritating, causing trouble way, if they do come back in, it's in an assistance friend type way, mannerism, you know.
Right. And that's kind of talks about purgatory, where these spirits get caught in purgatory. They don't know which way to go. Like go to the light or go to the darkness. Somebody told me that you don't go to the light. If you go to the light, then you're going to be reincarnated. If you go to the darkness opens up to another whole new world and light at the end of the tunnel, like they use, like like you would say. How's that theory hang with you, Elsa?
Oh, I'm just seeing the bug go to the light and
Yeah,
get
just go.
zapped.
Yeah, just
You
go
go,
to the
all
light.
right, now you have to go back again and do it. So, I mean, uh, you know, I've heard a few people say that are very close to me say, I'm not coming back here to do all this again. Not like this. Because
Yeah.
it's it's challenging, right? A lot of people, you hear them say this. And so how do you work that into your life? You get over what everybody else wants you to do and follow the true you.
Right.
I should be going to work today. I should be doing this because I've got to pay the home loan. I got to should. I'm made to do this, but I really want to sleep in and rest my body. Do that. But I'll lose my job. I'll lose my house. How do you know that? You
Yeah.
don't know that. You might become so healthy that you can take on more hours at work. Like, I'm using this as a simple example, but you don't know what the universe or creation has got going on with everyone. You can't. That's egoic, thinking that you know what everyone else is thinking. You don't. You don't know what the cosmos has got planned. Even the cosmos and creation doesn't know what it's got planned.
Right.
But if you have to follow your sense, your feeling. So if you have a gut feeling not to talk to someone, don't talk to that person. If you have a gut feeling not to walk across the road and to wait 5 minutes, don't wait 5 minutes. If because then you will be following your true path and you'll meet the alignments that you're meant to meet.
Hmm. Right.
And
You're
you
actually
see
hitting.
people
Yeah.
staying in loops.
Yeah.
They stay in a loop because they're not following their true feeling. They're always doing things to please other people. So they just get stuck in this loop. And you see them, especially on the Mercury retrogrades,
Hmm.
they're still repeating, having the same things happen to them on and on. And you can't explain it to them. They have to work it out
Yeah.
themselves.
You're talking about gut feelings like intuition or perception
Yeah.
of what's going
Mm.
on in your life and having a handle on your thoughts and your gut feeling. Now, I heard that gut feelings are very real. I mean, your gut is actually a secondary brain. It actually has brain neurons just like your brain does. So the brain and the heart, they work together. And that's where all the energy comes from, is from the heart, from what I understand, the electricity. So we're electrical beings, so that's how we pick up things. But this this thing about, I guess, being caught here on Earth, and this is a trial for us, a test, I think, Elsa, for us to live this life. Some people say they've had a hard. Some people have a really hard time in life. You know, they get sick, they lose their jobs, they do. We all go through that. I've been through that. You know, combat, divorces, all this. We all go through these hurtful things. I think those are lessons that we're supposed to learn from. And some people call this hell on earth. So there is no hell where we're going. There's only decisions that we have to make, whether we want to return, come back, or what we want to do when we pass on. uh, how do you feel about that? Is there penalties that we pay for when we leave here? Or is Earth a hell and we've already lived it? So we're going to go somewhere where it's going to be more beautiful and more peaceful, Elsa.
Oh, okay. So you said one topic and then you said the next, and they both mean the same thing to our family's belief. So the spleen is the heart. This is what they've lied to us about, right? You
Really?
go through you go through Shakespeare, and it's called good-hearted is spleen. Heart's a pump, and it's a dorsal. It's a dorsal. It's not the heart. So you know how you had the cross. I go about this, but in August 2022, we felt the huge shift was ready to acknowledge this information. So we have the cross religion, and they put the cross up here. It's not the cross, it's a compass. They've taken our heart from the spleen and pushed it up. Now, to August 2022, we had the big shift and we felt it drop. Like we felt it come back to our spleen. We're ready to talk about this. The spleen is the black and the white, it's the bile of our spleen. It's
Mm.
where we make our decisions from. They call it the four humours. um, It's the red and the white queen in Alice in Wonderland. The
Mm.
blood cells, the red and white blood cells, this is what it affects.
Right.
It's Alice in Wonderland. She falls down the esophagus and lands on her spleen. The ancient Egyptians have the ark. They put it down their throat so they can see what's going on inside. It's your spleen. This is where you make your decisions from. This is the place of entry. This is the placenta. This is the placebo effect.
Oh, never heard it
This
put that way.
is where they made tricks.
Oh.
They made tricks.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm a mum of 8, and they've tricked me too. Whoever they are, whether they're good or bad, they've tricked me too. And we've had much pain as well, like many others.
Mhm.
But I understand. I have an understanding of the chess game now. And this is heaven. It's the belly of Eve. It's the eternal grail, the holy grail.
Mhm.
It's like this, and you see it. It's the upside down of the masculine and the feminine. Once you realize and have an understanding that heaven is within and you are king, so you have your left foot and your right foot, which they have souls on them, and so do your hands. Soul, soul, and the feet have soul. Left foot, right foot is arcing like an electrical beam, and
Mhm.
it comes up and goes around your spleen and then comes down again. Comes up and goes down. So when they say, are you vibrating higher? It's going like this faster and faster. The more you let go of this stuff that doesn't serve you anymore, and you're able to let go of it and shed light on it, which can be just as easy as just saying it out loud, you will start vibrating faster. Once you start vibrating faster, then the other realms come in quicker and quicker and quicker, and you just seem to know stuff quicker. You seem to see things, you seem to maneuver your way through all the chaos with ease and grace. Stuff still happens around you, but you just seem to be able to work and weave your way through it.
Right.
And a lot of people would then say, you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. You just,
There's no
well,
such thing as
yeah.
luck in feng shui. You create it. You
Right.
create your own luck, which comes back to what you said. You create your own show. So you create your own luck. And this year, we're in the year of the luck dragon. So this is why we're feeling a huge force, because the dragons are huge energy.
Right.
It's huge energy.
And
And we're
stress
creating our own luck.
and stress,
You can
depression.
create bad luck though.
Yeah, yeah, you can through stress, anxiety, and
Yeah.
depression. You can create bad things from that, or your life goes the other way, and you destroy that arc, that energy. You lower your frequencies, and actually, the ETs use high frequencies to walk through walls. And I was able to walk through my door one time through a very regressed, very lucid dream. I was able to put my arm through my steel door, and then it started burning. So I figured I better get through it. That was a lucid dream. They sped my frequency up so fast that my body felt hot. I felt like I was very flushed all over. And I had these feelings. And I talked to a scientist about that, and he said, that sounds real. He said, what you went through sounds real because they have to speed your frequencies up to get you through your ceiling to, I guess, to, to abduct you to that tractor beam they use. That's what that tractor beam is. It's a high frequency that makes everything able to go through solid matter, in which there is no solid matter from what the scientists are saying, if you believe in the matrix and quantum theory. uh, Now, getting to ETs, now we got the ghost. ETs and ghosts can be similar because are they invisible? I mean, I've noticed them being invisible myself. The ETs, they can actually be invisible and be around you. What do you say about that, Elsa? About ETs? I know we talked about ETs last time. You have
Yeah.
kids now. They have to understand you got 8 kids, and all of them have communicated with these dimensional beings. Could you tell us a little bit about that? The ETs, dimensional beings, whatever, Elsa.
So in our head, because we've seen Hollywood, we visualize them the way we've seen them in Hollywood. But it's more than that. It's they interact with fae. Sometimes they get confused with fairies, glimpses, ghosts, orbs,
Mhm.
um, animal spirits, and all this. So they can. There's also different sizes. So there's ones that love low vibration, like really low vibration, and they're not always um, in the best interests of the host
Mhm.
who they're hanging out with. But then you have the high vibrating ones. Now the high vibrating ones they know the low vibrating ones. So if you're having too many of the low vibrating ones in you or around you, they are cautious because they don't want to get entangled. They know what happens when you go into a low vibrating state.
Right.
So this is where they understand our beingness here on, wherever we are. They understand, and they can't interfere too much, because if we're um, serving these ones, it plays with us a lot.
Mhm. I know they
This is
talk about Bigfoot and ETs can actually make an infrasound. That's a very low vibration.
yeah.
And
Well,
that
yeah, we
can,
hear it in
yeah, and that can dumb you down. And all you can do is sit there and look. You can't move your body.
trance like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you're in a
a lot of
trance.
the time one of my daughters said that sometimes when I love this one. She said, when you have amnesia, or like where you have the deja vu,
Hmm.
um, which is in the Matrix film where they see the black cat. When you have these moments, they got you in a trance for a minute. Because again, there's no time, so that minute to you can be a long time for them.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not talking, 1 or 2 years here. I'm talking a long time.
Yeah,
So it's a
that's
trance. Yeah,
when
they hold
people,
you, and
yeah,
it's
when
they
people
can't
get,
do it for too long. I don't. There's this thing they keep saying that they can't do it for too long, because then it interferes too much with the nature of the cosmos law. So they're allowed to do it, but they're not allowed to do it for too long,
that's why
because
when people
it
get
interferes.
abducted, yeah, they get abducted to go to a ship. And
Yeah,
on the ground on Earth, they're only gone about 10, 15 minutes, but they feel like they've been gone a long time when they're on that ship. There's a time
yeah,
displacement there somewhere. Either
yeah,
somewhere sped up, there's some, they speed up time, or they can slow down time. I think, well, time is only for us here on Earth, us humans. I
yeah.
think, I don't know
Well,
about
we had.
these.
Well, that's what happened to myself in 2017. I had a tenon back. Now, I didn't know it was that term,
Yeah,
but I my family and all the animals uh, didn't want to be around me anymore the next day.
really.
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah,
tell
they
us what
just
that
all,
word
they
is?
didn't smell, they would growl at me, and it got worse. They said that I wasn't me anymore. They said that I was completely different.
Could you tell us that
But to
word, that
me,
term that you used? What is Tenenbaum?
tenon back. And
Tenenbaum.
it's tenon back. So I was up in a craft, diluted into a craft.
Mhm.
I was out in the paddock walking at night with the horses, got diluted into a craft, and um, they showed me it was 10 years. I was gone 10 years there. But then the next day, I'm here. So very confusing, because I didn't understand any of this. And then for 3 months, this became actually a problem in the family.
Mm.
Not with just the family members, the horses and everyone would try and attack me. It was not cool. It was actually getting a bit dangerous, because the dogs are
Right.
growling at me, the cats are swiping me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Um,
actually, you're saying that somebody, some being, come in and took over your being. I guess is that what
well,
you're saying?
yeah, so us being us, my husband and I, he said, because we were arguing, but I'm arguing and I'm going, I'm still me. But they're looking at, they said, you don't even, they didn't call me mum or Elsa. They just stopped calling me, they're like you. It
Wow.
was quite disturbing.
So that
Anyway,
wasn't any medical reason for your behavior?
no, because I'm still functioning fine. So Richard, being Richard, said, well, let's do kinesiology, because I'm not getting a straight answer from you. And so I went into kinesiology, and they worked it out
Mm.
to the day, that date. They worked it out to that date. And then I came out of the kinesiology and said, this is where kinesiology is good, because it makes you step out of the way of your thinking brain, what you think everything should be,
Mhm.
and your body goes, this is what really happened. And it can timestamp it for you. You can say it was at birth. They can say it was at when you were in your mother's tummy. They can say it was an incarnation. They can tell you where your illnesses are.
Mm-hmm.
So you can work things out. It's like a map. And the body doesn't lie. And it's not that you lie, it's just that you create stories
Right.
in your head. Anyway, so this date comes up, that date, you're gone this long. And so I come out and I said, oh, well, I'm not possessed. It's great, I'm not possessed. And they're like, what happened? They said, oh, you know, and we're up in a craft for 10 years. And they're going, well, that's much better. Now we understand. So everyone shed light on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything was okay. This, though, was the catalyst after this acknowledgement, this day, pretty much within a couple of weeks after that date, going to kinesiology, the kids, it was like it was okay, and now the kids start drawing all the beings.
Yeah. Two questions, Elsa.
Yeah.
Kinesiology. How do you
Mm-hmm.
do it, and what is the act of doing that? And do you have to work with somebody who's an expert? And number
Yeah.
two, did you have any memories of being on board that craft those 10 years?
I did have a few memories, and a lady who's very well known around the world, Mary Rodwell. She's just amazing. She's like a guru. She's just amazing. I shared our story with her, and she found the whole thing very interesting, all the kids, and she said, "Do you want to do a hypnosis with her?" And I didn't actually know what hypnosis was, so I had to, because I didn't know how to do it. And she says, "I think you'll be okay with it. You'll be pretty good." And she said, "If it's either there or it isn't." And it's sort of like what Dolores Cannon does.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so she did a hypnosis with me, and she took me up in the craft, and we were able to unfold what happened. And so from that point on, I feel like a Matrix moment where not only did they give me one program, they go, okay, just give her the whole, give her the whole box. And so they gave me, they gave me intelligence. Well, not intelligence. I'm not sounding like I'm intelligent because my kids think I'm crazy. But they give me information on how to do things, how to heal things, where to find things.
Mm-hmm.
Different ways to heal, different ways to communicate with others. So they've given me great insight, and so we take that and we use it and incorporate it in our day to day. How to be better with the animals, how to be better with nature, how to be better going to bed at night, waking up, so that you're running as a better human.
Now, what you experience and what you're telling me sounds a little bit like possession, like a demonic
Well, yeah.
possession. Yeah, and I
Well,
got
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But see, so my brain goes, I'm possessed and I need an exorcist, because I saw those films as a kid, right? But you go and have kinesiology, and then I realize it's this, and able to have an understanding. So you come back to your heaven. So and then you become, you understand it, and the things that were causing you pain or arguments or discomforts stop, and it works out with ease and grace for your life.
Yeah, I'm actually writing that word down because I'm going to have a Dr. Gallagher on in a few days, and he's a psychiatrist who wrote several books about demons and possession and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And
A lot of the things that show up that are very dark, because we have had scary stuff happen to our family, because people think that because we don't talk about it, doesn't happen, but it has. Once we start to go, okay, well, you're scaring the life out of us, these ghosts or dark shadow beings or whatever they are, and we actually then start to address it and acknowledge it, they shapeshift. It's not what we thought, because we've just shed the programs off it.
mm-hmm.
And they go, okay, now we can really show you what we were trying to tell you, now that you've got rid of all your fear. And it's this fear and doubt. This is the Tao, the practice of the Tao, which is called, means the way, is they say fear and doubt. This is the two things that they don't practice. Once you stop practicing those things, it becomes heaven on earth.
Right. They talk about certain ETs like the reptilians. They feed off of low vibrations, and they like fear. They feed off of fear and I guess nervousness, or like I said, low vibrations, and that's why it's always best to keep a higher vibration. Uh, that must have been some ordeal that you went through. I mean, like your whole life changed, and you probably didn't understand why people reacted to it like they did. That's something else. Elsa, you said some of the traumatic things that's happened to your family. Could you just maybe talk about one or two of those events? Not getting too personal, or not, just tell us what your family has been through. You had 8 children who all experienced the same thing. Speaking to dimensional, interdimensional beings. Could you tell us a couple of events that really, affected the whole family, Elsa?
Uh,
Without being too personal, I don't
yeah.
put you on the spot.
No. Oh. Okay. So the kids know that stuff just seems I can pick up on stuff, so they know this, right, about me. And they've showed me that the reason that I was able to have so many children and do what we're doing now is because they kept saying clear conduit. So it's just I don't seem to hang on to it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I just take what I need and then move it back through. So it just keeps coming back through like this. And the same with the kids, because when you have a child, you take on all their DNA and data as well. So it's like like a download from them. Anyway, but I haven't held on, so I'm able to keep it moving. And sometimes it does get stuck, but I'm able to keep it moving. So the kids say, do you want to come out fishing? And we're a big fishing family. So we feed our family by fishing. And it's not just Richard that fishes and our sons, but our daughters. They're very good fishermen, as well as cutting. It's a real skill, cutting fish. It really is. Anyway, so they invite me out on the boat, and they class me as annoying on the boat because I don't fish. I just come out to, experience the family and enjoy the day out. So I have to sit in a corner on the boat away from them and not speak to them because I irritate them.
Right.
And I take out my ching-chings, which are two little bells, and I know that I can call beings out, not only the beings in the water, but up there as well. So we go out in the ocean, and I spit in the water, spitting so that they can collect my DNA as well. I do it like as a speed up process.
Right.
And then I get the bells and I ching, ching, ching. And the whales were all around. And we see 2 whales, they were heading north. And I ching them twice. And I've never seen anything like this. 2 humpback whales do a right angle and torpedo our boat. So they're coming on top of the water at our boat. And at first we were all really excited. And then we heard Richard, because he's captain, right, of the ship, he goes, get your life jackets on. And we all went really quiet. And we knew that when we heard him say, because he doesn't talk like that a lot and he's not one to be scared, but the way he said, get your life jackets on. So we all got our life jackets on. So we knew what this meant. And so these 2 humpback whales are much bigger than our boat. I think they're 4 times bigger than our boat or something. Huge.
Yeah.
But they're both coming on like a submarine to our boat, right?
Right.
Then I see Gigi and Ginger run up the front of the boat. So they're hanging off the front of the boat with their hands trying to touch the water, right? And the rest of the family are staying in the centre with Richard. And I went, oh. So this feeling of fear is in me, big time, Dave.
Yeah.
But my heart says go be with Gigi and Ginger. So I go up the front of the boat. Like, I'm so scared. Like everything in my body was scared, telling me not to do it. You shouldn't do it. I
And
had
you
that going
were
on.
blaming yourself. You had guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, but my heart or my soul or whatever you want to call it, will wanted to go there. So I went up the front with them. So the three of us are up the front. They come so close. They're this close from us at full speed.
Oh. Mm.
And they go under. We've got footage of it. It's on our videos on our website. And you can hear our voices and they go under our boat. And they do it with such grace and such ease. And so the excitement's gone, the water's settled, and the kids look to me and go, "You did that? You called them in. You're not coming out again."
They weren't excited about it. They were mad about it, right? They got scared. That's scary.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the whales, they came and they just wanted us, and we made eye contact with them.
Oh.
Like it was the most amazing experience to have this happen. Not one, but two.
Yeah.
We've had multiple whale encounters when we're out of unusual behavior. And so it was like that was, this Tenenback I spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
Me getting over my fear and addressing the whales with the girls and being light-hearted or high vibrating like the two girls at the front of the boat, then more ET craft experience happens, more encounters, more beings happen from that day. It was like, so that's what I'm saying. Everyone's in on it. It's not just the ETs or the ghosts or the Fae or the Dogmen or the Yetis or the Yowies or the Sasquatches. Everyone's in on it. They're just waiting for us to come to our senses.
And it's like you created such a harmony there between nature and yourselves that the ETs caught on to that energy. And
Yeah.
I believe, I know this for a fact, that the ETs know your frequencies. Each one of us have a different frequency. They can track us wherever we're at. I know that from being from Illinois and then to Alaska for a while, then back. I knew that they tracked me then, but I know that the frequencies means a lot. And apparently the bells that you had, those created some kind of a frequency that those whales can hear, because they have hearing that's what 100 times better than ours, actually, something like that, and probably more. Is that right, Elsa? Maybe that's what they.
Well, they're like crocodiles and elephants. They have that. You spoke of this low frequency.
Yeah.
They have a low frequency. So they're high vibrating animals, right? But they can create this low frequency that goes around the whole oceans.
Yeah. Yeah.
The elephant has a low frequency that can hum, and it goes through the forests. Like it goes around trees and boulders and stuff. Like the crocodile, they shudder down here. And a lot of the big cats do it. You'll hear big cats and domesticated cats purr. These things they do. We're actually doing it as well. We just can't hear it because we're playing out this matrix.
Right.
And that's why I keep saying the matrix isn't it sounds like I'm for all the dark things that have happened. I'm not. But the matrix was there, so it had to take us to this lowest point in humanity or whatever we are so that we could return on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
To shed light on ourselves and become higher breeds. And from doing this, we will literally become super beings.
Yeah. Eventually.
So that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm excited,
Yeah.
because like you can see change. Dave, you must notice changes in people that you're talking to. You must see all these shifts in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's exciting, right? Because
it's not
for
been
so
good.
long it's been,
Yeah, but it's not been good. There's been a lot of people that are sick. A lot of people had this
yeah,
30-day cough, 60-day cough,
yeah.
actually. And my
Can
mother.
I say one thing? Onion. Cut onion and put it next to you. I had to do it yesterday.
Really?
I had a coughing attack. Yeah, because the mucus has been full on here the last 5 days. And I had I've had quite a few coughing attacks where it closes my the mucus gets so thick in my throat I can't breathe. And the kids cut a piece of onion, and I put it either in my socks or next to me, just like this,
Hmm.
and instantly I can breathe. When I heard it, first of all, Richard told me to do it because he saw it on a YouTube thing, and I went, oh, that can't work. I did it, and instantly I was coughing all the way through the night, which was making me even sicker because I was getting really tired and I wasn't getting rest.
Hmm.
We did the onion. I had the first deep sleep. Richard said I wasn't snoring. I could breathe all night, and I had such a deep sleep that the next day I woke up and I was better again
Yeah.
from onion.
Yeah. And you woke up hungry for a cheeseburger,
Yeah.
huh? No.
Well, it's funny because I've got it in my socks today,
Oh,
and
really?
everyone's like, you stink,
Yeah.
but I don't care because I'm not coughing. I can
Yeah,
breathe. So
that cough you're talking about, I went to the doctors. I had it. I was in the Philippines when I actually got it. I got it on the airplane, I guess, going over there, and they call it. And I've seen it on the internet. A lot of people are complaining about that cough. Now, this is kind of off the beaten track that we're on, but that cough is a 30. They call it a 30-day cough. I go to a doctor. I don't tell them that it's a chemtrail cough because doctors will look at you and say, chemtrail. No, we don't get into that because the government will slap our hands if we start getting into that kind of stuff. And I did find one or two doctors that I mentioned it to, and they kind of smiled and they said, "Really, what's a chemtrail cough?" I said, "The stuff they're spraying in the atmosphere that's causing us to get the heavy metals that are causing us to have this dry cough. There is no mucus. It's white mucus, and people who've had this cough, there's probably plenty that'll hear this and they'll say, "Yeah, I had that cough. It was a dry cough. It lasted more than 30 days. It kept you up all night and nothing ever come up. It was just right in the throat." So it was, I don't know. They said it's weird. A lot of people's had it. I don't know if that's what you had, but we're getting into conspiracies and educational purposes only. I'm mentioning that to the platform. So as not to say I know what it exactly is, but that's what I've been hearing a lot of people talk about. So we'll talk about it as educational and entertainment purposes only. So
So
you know,
everything, so everything that we talk about, we trial and error for our family. I'm just wanting to share this because we've been doing this for a long 30 years. We didn't just wake up and do it today, right? So we've been trial and erroring every ET encounter, whale, everything. We are always checking in on ourselves, and it's trial and error. So yes, we've heard that information and we say thank you for sharing that information with us. Now we're going to trial and error in our family, and we test it in our family.
mhm,
The herbs, practices, spiritual stuff, all of these things we practice. So we are walking proof of what we say isn't what we've heard or read. We're actually doing it
mhm.
and have been doing it, and our children have been doing it. So um, whatever you hear, you should always trial and error it for yourself in a way that you're comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what we always say. You have to be responsible for yourself.
Yeah. Let's go into another topic.
Yeah.
We kind of sometimes we get off the beaten track, but I think people are interested in this because I think a lot of people have been sick by this. You mentioned the butterfly effect. You mentioned that earlier, and you mentioned it in your notes. And could you tell us a little bit about the butterfly effect, Elsa?
Well, the butterfly effect is even the term now is starting to change for how we understand it, which is great. So the butterfly effect is you you're doing something, you're acting through your day, and then something else around the world um, synchronizes with that.
Hmm.
And people say, "Oh, well, you're being egoic. You think you created that." And it's not like that. It's just like it's the energies showing you, and this was always going to happen, but they just aligned. So it's like a confirmation from the universe or the cosmos that you're on path. You are in um, you're in the right show of your senses. This is what it is, and you know we've spoken about encounters we've had. We always talk about the the white car people that turn up.
Hmm.
Are they here to scare us? No, they're just the dovetail butterfly effect of what we just had done. And they seem to turn up within seconds.
Yeah.
Or a military plane will come over and they'll go, oh, they're watching you, they're spying on you. Whether they are or aren't, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking, how can their technology even be that accurate? It's amazing. But it happens. We acknowledge it. And instead of being in fear of it, we go, well, thank you, because you've just confirmed what we've just done.
Yeah, and we
So,
talked about that earlier before the show, and
yeah.
I've seen a white Dodge Ram truck, pickup truck, a couple of times. One time, well, both times, I know they were tracking me, so I know that too, and I'm admitting that on air. But this is not crazy stuff. This is not being paranoid. I actually saw the guy looking at me and watching me for a while, and then he took off, and then I thought he was gone. I turned the corner on the road, 2-lane highway, and there he was setting off the side of the road, and he was sitting there staring at me as I drove by real slow, and I stared at him. And so he let me know he was following me, he was tracking me. TI, what they call a targeted individual, and that's what you are, your family. Uh, we get that. We get, I guess, what they're trying to tell us. You're saying that it's a good thing. They're telling us that we're on the right track. It's kind of like apports, like like white feathers or coins that you find. Is that another sign, Elsa, that you're on the right track?
Oh, I love that you said that. Yeah. So sometimes it will be a cloud.
Yeah.
And you go, but how can a cloud? And you go, well, what's a cloud? It's full of water. Water is intelligence.
Hmm.
We believe water is the Akashic records,
Right.
and it holds all the records. So we think water's just here on Gaia because we've been told there's no water anywhere else on any other planet because they know every other planet. Well, how do you know every other planet? Doesn't make sense, right? So you come back into your senses. When these meteors come past, they've got frozen mud. So that's got water on it. This water may have never been on Gaia before, or Earth, or whatever you want to call where we are. So that's new intelligence as well as the tar coming down onto us. So this intelligence is in coming to all of us, including the man in the Dodge or the Ram. And this was one thing I used to say is, how are they turning up straight after I've done this? And it's the same as the whale. They tap into their own will force. And sometimes people don't even know they're doing it. Because, like, we had these people around us that we didn't really like, and they weren't awakened at all. They were complete sleepers. We call them sleepers. They
Yeah.
just had no idea what's going on. They're just so in the 3D-ness of everything.
There's a lot of
But
people
they
like
would, yeah, they are, and they're on their roll. But they would turn up exactly the moment I've done something. And I said, how is this possible if they're completely asleep? And it was like their soul took them there to experience us. It
yeah.
was, yeah. So this is what this Ram person would, because we always say, because the white car people turn up, and a lot of the time they actually want to talk to Richard and I or the kids.
Hmm.
But this one that you encountered didn't want to talk to you. So I'm going to say he wasn't conscious enough. He was there, but he wasn't.
And I think they tracked my phone because they picked up that I was
Yeah. Oh,
going
yeah.
to pick my brother up. They knew I was going to go pick my brother up, so they knew I was going to be out of the house and take that path. They knew what path I
Yeah.
was going to take. So
Well, sometimes I think they send someone, you know,
yeah,
they like Mr. Smith someone, and they just, where they melt into someone and then they send them there. So they're tapping into the energy. So I've been on the beach, and I have shared this once before, or a few times on an interview. I've been on the beach, and the girls and the boys are out surfing, and then everyone's on their phone at the beach. And I'm going, none of the boys and girls are looking at each other. So I find that fascinating because they're all on their phones. Anyway, I see a huge craft come out. This is in daylight, comes out over where they were surfing and then it hovered and then explodes and then drops down into the water. And
Mm.
I've gone, whoa. And I'm looking around to see if anyone else saw it. And then and they're all looking down. So no one saw it. And then I went, oh, well, maybe I imagined it, right? So this is my brain going like this. Within not even 2 seconds, two black military helicopters come over and go straight to that spot. Not even, I couldn't have even said it and they were there. And
Yeah.
then I looked at these helicopters who were traveling fast and low at a beach, a well-known beach in Australia. And so then everyone sees a helicopter, so they think sharks, so they come in. But these helicopters go to that spot, and I go, that's weird. So you want me to see that? And that's what I said. You want me to see that? As soon as I said that, it was like the whales. They turned, the helicopters turn, change course, and come and circle over me and over our family on the beach.
Wow. That's
And
like
I've just gone,
instantaneous.
then I've
Yeah.
gone, well, then, you start thinking, am I causing danger? But I literally, Dave, I haven't really done anything, have I? I'm just sitting on the beach
Mhm.
observing. But as soon as I acknowledged it, as soon as these helicopters went over, I went, okay, thank you guys, I got it.
Yeah.
They left.
Yeah.
And before I'd even said it, they're heading north and they're down the coastline before you could. The whole thing was so fast. But
So,
obviously,
yeah.
I had to have that experience.
Yeah. So dimensions are probably really close to, I mean, we're right, it's a veil thin dimensional type thing that they can come in and out of, and things do happen instantaneous, just like you said. But do you think that you are meant to see this craft and nobody else is? I mean, I get that impression. So I've had witnesses with me who've seen UFOs before, but I've seen some of them by myself. Do you think that these people are, it's just not that they're not paying attention, their eyes are always on the ground, and it's you're meant to see something and they show it to you and somebody else can't see it, they could be standing right next to you? Is that possible also?
They saw they were able to comprehend the helicopters, so they saw that. So that was good because then I realized I wasn't going crazy. And so did everyone else, saw the helicopters. So they're okay with the helicopters, but their belief system is not okay with the craft or the ETs.
Right.
And as yourself, like shows like yours, come out more and more, and you're in a calm state and you're speaking with people and sharing all these people's experiences, what soon, very soon, by the way, they will be able to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
think
it just needs
enlightenment.
more people like yourself doing these shows and
Oh, there,
talking, with the local people.
yeah, there was a time though I thought about quitting these shows,
Oh,
about three,
no.
4 months ago. And when I was being harassed on my computer and I was being, I don't want to tell these people that's not a weakness because I kept going. And then I was even followed. And so I thought, okay, I don't want any more problems. So I thought maybe I'll just go back to writing books and doing that steadily instead of doing the shows. But I decided, no, I'm going to keep going. I want people to be enlightened. And if I can help people be enlightened about what's going on out there, there's 50%, you said something a while ago, there's 50% of the population who believe in UFOs, that they're flying around up there, but they don't believe that ETs are walking amongst us. Like my most favorite guy, Dr. David Jacobs, I met him in 2011. I talked to him about some of my events, and he was talking to me, but he said that he wrote this book that they are walking amongst us. There's ETs in human form walking amongst us. And have you ever run into any of those, Elsa, in your time?
Yeah, we have. Um, and they a whole different buzz to them too. I have to say, like they're like they're really tall people and all their hair's bald and their eyes are really bright,
Right.
or they have like a Jesus look about them,
Yeah.
or and they're wearing odd clothing and they don't walk normal
Right.
either. But I mean, I look at my hands and my head shape, and they're weird too. So, are we all? Well, I think deep down we're all aliens. We're all
We
just
are.
crust upon crust upon crust of evolution, you know. So, um, deep down, I think we're probably all aliens because we've come here from
Yeah, I think
somewhere.
so. Let's close out on these topics on the shifts that are going on. They said there's a lot of shifts going on. It's kind of like now we had these solar flares this past few days, and a lot of people were afraid of those. And we actually are shifting from third dimension to the fifth dimension somehow or another. Do you feel that shift going on right now, Elsa?
Uh, this week, the 10th, 11th, 12th. The reason that I feel that what they were saying about the polls, they said that they had um, practice going on, and I understand where they're coming from on this, but it didn't ring true for me. I felt like that was more a smear campaign because they knew that this great shift was coming,
Mhm.
so they don't want the public to catch on too quick, or so they give them a story. It was just too neat. The whole thing was just way too neat. How did you know that to do it on that day? So, out of all the days you could choose, you chose to do this exercise at the North Poles or whatever on these days. Really? I'm sorry, it just doesn't, because this shift that has happened with the comets and things that went past and the the plasma dust that was falling, that this hasn't happened for, like they said, 500 years. How do they know?
Yeah.
How do they know? Have you seen what people
Well,
supposedly look like 500 years ago? I mean, come on.
well, the elites and the powers that be, like I call them, they know all this stuff. They're keeping it from us.
Yeah.
They know the
How do they know?
yeah, the
How do
true
they know?
history
Because they
because
remote view.
yeah, well that and also ETs have been helping them along.
Yeah.
They don't want us
Yeah.
to have any they don't want us to meet the ETs right now because they're making use of their technology and everything. So they're working for the secret organizations that our tax money actually goes to and pays for, just like your Pine Ridge, I guess, department out there in Australia. There's actually a TV show I saw on the Netflix on Pine Ridge. How far away are you from that, Elsa?
See, this is where you guys don't realize that Australia is massive. It's
Yes.
huge.
Hmm.
And that's right in the middle
Yeah.
of, we're talking hours and hours of driving to get there. And it's desert. Like it's out and it's like your desert's there. And this Pine Gap place, we have had a lot of people that we know, family, friends, who have lived there or worked around there, and it's intense around there. A lot of them are no longer alive because they've all passed on from severe radiation and things like this.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big topic. Like,
Yeah. The reason why I
um,
brought that up is because we were talking about these secret elite organizations and keeping this information
yeah,
away from us and actual history away from us, so as we don't expand our minds and get a little bit smarter what we're doing and not
yeah.
be so much enslaved like we are
I
now.
think, well,
Yeah.
they're trying to stop that. So all that beautiful purple and green coming
Right.
through,
Yeah.
they're trying to stop us incorporating that into us being a hybrid. So let's feed them another story. They'll love that because it's got you know a lot of hype about it. So we'll give them that because then that'll keep them busy.
Mhm.
But really, it's actually upgrading us. So um, take it easy with your body. Be rest. Give yourself time so that, because this upgrade that comes into us will take time, like a computer program on your computer will take time to download,
Right.
and then you'll be able to use it.
Yeah. There's a lot of diversionary tactics like they'll throw a silver shiny coin over here and say, "Look at that."
Yeah,
And while you're looking at,
yeah,
they're doing something over here, and they're
yeah.
hiding our history. They're hiding our true, actual humanity is what they're hiding, so they have more control.
Well, well,
And
one of the reasons, sorry,
okay, go
one
ahead.
of the reasons we've stopped being photographers at this moment is because the what have they been doing? They've been distracting us with entertainment,
Mhm.
and this is the whole Hollywood thing. And I can't even really watch much TV with Hollywood because it doesn't ring true. But shows like yourself, I'm so interested. I could watch hours and hours of it because it's not. It rings true.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm tired of the lies. The lies don't feel right in my body anymore. They might hold a little bit of truth, but they're so smear campaigned with, um,
That's why I like you, Elsa,
layers and
because
layers of
uh,
stories.
yeah, that's why I like you because you're on the positive side of things, and you know what's going on. You know the truth. You see it, and I think that's good that we visualize the reality of what's going on around us, even though we don't know what everything. I'd like to know more. I'm curious. I want to know more, and I know you do too. What makes all this tick? And I know there are some people who know what's going on, but we will never find out from them. So that's about it. But okay, I think we've talked enough. I guess we ran through everything. You're going to miss your breakfast, and everybody's ate before you have. You're going to get cold leftovers, I guess. So, uh, Elsa, it's been really nice again talking to you. Like you said, you've been here with us before, and I have a bunch of notes on you, but we went through a lot of stuff, and I really thank you, Elsa Dillon, your 8 kids, and your husband, I guess, for actually working with you, and then Richard, who I guess he goes along with you, and you both work together in some of these things you do. Could you tell us a little bit, Elsa, what you do, and anything that you like? You're on YouTube. You got some shows that you got out there, and you got some articles, I guess, and you teach, don't you, Elsa? I think from when I remember. Tell people a little bit how they can get a hold of you.
Well, we have a website. We have our spinbeings.com, and we do sessions with people. So that's more personal. So it's really good because you can come in and talk about specific things.
Mhm.
And it's not with an audience, and this makes a big difference.
Right.
When you're with an audience, we have to be, like you understand, Dave, in respect of where the internet is at with certain words. And so
Right.
it really does chop down your information. So you have this much to share, but it has to go to this because otherwise you don't get aired, or you offend too many people and they're not ready to hear it maybe yet, or, so
Mhm.
we have that. We also come and meet groups of people around the world, and we help them how to go out and help the community. So instead of waiting for the government or a so-called president to come in, they're going, you know what, we're going to take the matter into our own hands, and they go and they help people with autistic children, or they help the people who have Alzheimer's, or they are practitioners in they're like doctors, and they're looking at new ways, or they're a pharmacist, they want to bring in new ways of doing this, and we're going in and working with them and saying, why don't you try it this way, why don't you try it this way, why don't you try it this way. And I could just yesterday I got the most beautiful message from a Japanese doctor, and she said, she's a pediatrician, I think she's a pediatrician. She said, the session that you did a year ago, I've been practicing it for the last 6 months and it's working.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
And she said it's taken her whole, because what it does is it takes all the certificate, everything they've learned this way, and then they take all the natural spiritual stuff and they add all the ET stuff to it,
Mhm.
and then it becomes a whole another level of that. So even their business has become like a higher breed.
Right.
So this is a way we're
Yeah. What do they
working
say? They say
through
if
with
you help
people.
one person, minimum one person in their lives, then you're doing well and you're on the right track, like you were talking about a while ago. And I think you're doing that. And when you're helping people, And I hope these shows help people, listening to people like yourself that's been through this and knows, how to look beyond the veil, I guess you could say, and find out what humanity is all about. Elsa Dillon, so nice to have you back on the show, and maybe we'll do it again sometime down the road. And I thank you very much for doing the show and taking time out from your early morning there. I know I'm about what 6, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the evening right now, and it's probably 5, I'd say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning,
yeah,
and you missed your
yeah.
breakfast.
I think I've missed breakfast.
Oh, you sacrifices. Thank you so much again. It makes me feel
Thank
bad
you,
now.
Dave.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thanks
much for.
everybody for listening in and watching the show. It's Dave Emmons, Strange Reality. Elsa Dillon, so nice to have you back on the show. Good night, everybody, and thank you again, Elsa. Bye bye.